All right, welcome to Market Day Report. Good morning. Glad to have you here with us today. Maybe we can make you stay all day. I mean, it's been interesting and busy. Lots going on. Maybe not on the surface in our markets, but there's stuff going on outside our markets that are absolutely going to change things and make our moves pretty interesting. Let's take a look and see how things are right now, though. Let's see how the overnights went. We'll go to the corn market. What did corn do? As I say, things are happening. There's nothing happening on that screen, is there? July is up 3 ticks to 456. Not a lot going on there. We have SEP sharply unchanged at 465, and the new crop just sagging down a little lower to 3 ticks lower to 478. So kind of quiet there, waiting to see what's going to what the next shoot of fall is going to be. Let's go to the beans. They're up about a penny and a half to 2.5 cents across the board. Penny and a quarter up in July. 12.15 and a quarter is last there. We've had an 8-cent range. We're pretty much right in the middle of it. Go out to the Nove. That's up 2.5 cents to 11.99 and a quarter as we try to regain that $12 line. We did overnight to $12.50, but we slumped back down to 11.99 and a quarter going home. Let's move from beans to the Chicago wheat market. That's down 7 cents, 7.25 cents lower in July to 685 and a half. And we're about, let's go out to the D's. That's down 7.25 cents to 7.29. The ranges are a little tighter than we've had as of late. We're going to say about 14, 15 cents wide in the wheat in Chicago. So we're 7 to 7.25 cents lower across the board for Chicago wheat. Let's go to the Kansas City wheat. We call that the hard red. 3 to 4 cents lower across the board there. 3.25 cents lower in July. 7.16 and a half is last there. And that's, we've had, again, another 14-cent range. We're 4 cents from the high of a 14-cent range. How about that? If we use a little rounding, that'll give you an idea about where hard red was all day or all night. Spring wheat in Minneapolis, that was down a couple cents, 2 cents lower in July to 7.50. That's just 2.25 cents off the high. And we had about a 9-cent range, so that'll give you an idea. D's went out to 2.75 cents lower to 7.72 and a half. That's D's spring wheat in Minneapolis. Let's take a look at cotton. Cotton's down 90 points, 80.20 is last there, 7 points from the low of the day, while we got a 71-point sell-off in the D's to 77.39, and that gives me the opportunity to bring in our next guest analyst, and that's going to be Ryan Hoops. He's the president of Midwest Market Solutions in Springfield, Missouri. And thanks for being on. Good morning, Mr. Hoops. The floor is yours. Have at it. Let us know all you know.
Good morning, sir. Well, there's not much news overnight, obviously. No private export sales. Weekly exports delayed one day because of the holiday that we had on Monday. So trade's pretty much just looking at weather right now. Maybe some world events, world weather, what's happening in Russia, India importing wheat for the first time in 6 years. So there may be some opportunities for the U.S. to export wheat because of Russia's smaller crop and India importing wheat. But at the price levels we're at, we're probably not going to be able to sell any wheat in the world marketplace. We're extremely high price for this time of year, right before our harvest, and it looks to be a pretty decent harvest throughout the hard red and soft red wheat belts. So it's starting in Texas, and they'll start to move farther north here. Some rains look to slow that harvest over the next week or so, but after that, harvest should ramp up, and planting season for corn and soybeans looks to ramp up over the next 2 weeks. I think the trade's fairly comfortable that corn and soybean crop will be planted in the ground over the next 1 to 2 weeks, and we're not seeing any significant delays. And so we've took a little premium out of the market the last couple of days, closing right on technical support, and now we're just kind of teetering, waiting for maybe some new, fresh news to give us some direction for these grain markets.
So you've heard of Pavlov's dogs, right? Ask me how many times I refreshed my screen this morning at 1/2 waiting for export sales before I realized it was going to be tomorrow, right? So that was probably about 25 times. If we're playing a card game and funds covering their short positions was one of the cards you had for a bullish move, and that now has been played, I would say, largely. What's the next bullish card in your hand?
So you're exactly right. We talked about this all winter long, how we were in February, March, we were kind of, with the commitment traders way it was set up for a bullish move for the funds to buy back their shorts. They've done that in corn, soybeans, and wheat, especially in the wheat market where they're possibly net long here now. So your next bullish move, where does it come from? Well, weather is still kind of the driving force to get those funds to go out of their shorts and get to a net long position. and it may take some time for that to happen. The ground is pretty well saturated across the Corn Belt, and it would 2 to 3 weeks of hot and dry weather is exactly what the crop needs to get it out of the ground and dry those fields up a little bit. So it's probably going to take extended periods of hot and dry weather into late summer, July into August, September, to get another rally in this market, or a significant rally. So that's really what I think you're looking at. Assuming the crop gets seeded in here, we don't flood out or anything. That's really your next bullish play, is weather from that perspective, hot and dry conditions that the funds would continue to buy back and actually go net long.
All right, we're going to go away. Need to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Brian right after this. All right, welcome back. It's time to take a look at what happened yesterday in the high livestock markets. Why don't we take a look and see how we closed? We've got live cattle up there, closed a little lower, about $1.20 lower in June. 183.35 was the close there. We had a decent range, almost $3. That's live cattle. Feeders, what did they do yesterday? Well, they were also lower. Gave back all of the gains they gained the day before, right? So that was a whole lot of nothing. $4.35 lower in the August. 260. About 25 was last there, and again another big range of $6. So that's just about $6. And then you take a look at, say, even the Nove down $3.37 to 262.25. So that one took it on the chin. How about lean hogs? Really, this was a kind of a quiet market, and 2 cents lower on the close in June confirms that. 93.77 is how we went home. We were 25 cents lower, basically out the deferreds. October was down 25 cents to 82.25. Let's bring them back in. We got 120 seconds for you, Mr. Hoops. How does it look for these things to open up here today?
Well, yeah, I just checked the screen, and it looks like, feeders may open maybe 25 higher or so, and the live cattle mix, June's going to find the most strength out of probably all the live cattle contracts. Now, the news that we saw yesterday with the board being down sharply really occurred at midday. There was some newswire items that JBS plant, a beef packing plant in Greeley, Colorado, has been delisted by China as far as making sales out of their plant into China. Now, I assume that that's going to be made up for by other plants making sales to China. China did not delist the United States from beef sales, so it's nothing that serious. And we did see a big sell-off in the futures, but the live cattle especially came back by the closing bell and really paired those losses. Feeders have a little more ground to make up in that respect. Now, we're still looking at steady to higher cash trade. That really hasn't changed, and that's probably where the focus is going to shift towards today, is where's that cash trade going to be occurring at this week, and how are our futures in relation to that, where we're still discounting those summer month contracts, probably should be supportive to the futures contracts today.
How much does this sea change in expectations for rates change things here over in the livestock? I mean, we saw that 10-year yield spike yesterday. Bonds sold off pretty hard. Today it's backed off a little bit, but still higher than it's been. And the stock market obviously doesn't like that either. How much does that play into what we look forward to some of these, say, even beef prices?
Yeah, I think, you look at that from a broad perspective, that we're probably not going to be lowering interest rates anytime in the summer. There's better chances for the fall and the winter months where we could see interest rates being lowered. In the meantime, consumers are left with high prices of beef and other expenses, so that they have to kind of manage their pocketbooks through the summer months, and that will make them very selective, I think, on what cuts of beef that they buy, how much they go out to eat, that sort of thing, and that will ultimately cut into our demand from the consumer level.
All right, great stuff as usual. Super way to start the morning. Thank you very much, Brian Hoops.
You.
He's with Midwest Market Solutions in Springfield, Missouri. I'm bring it back here to say good morning to Tammy.
Yeah, kick off
Good
the
to have you
day,
again.
Friday Eve.
All right, Friday
Here we
Eve.
go.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly
Thanks,
right.
Scott.